I got it. Now let's get us in the computer because people have been asking for us to record it. So we want to make sure we get it. Oh my goodness. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. We've got such great weather here. And let me just ask you, do you find it kind of difficult to balance your personal and professional life and all the things that you're doing? Perhaps you're having to care for other people. Are you struggling to prioritize your self-care while you're managing all the other responsibilities that you have? Well, this is a session it's kind of dear to my heart because we're going to explore how the essential oils can help reduce your stress and provide a sense of calm that can improve your daily function. We're going to learn how the power of essential oils can promote emotional balance and well-being. And I want you to really see that there's some simple ways to do this. I have to admit, I thought it was kind of hokey at first several years ago when I heard about it. But believe me, there's a lot of science behind it, and it really does work. So welcome. This is Dr. Nozella, your favorite wellness educator and consultant, and I am super, super excited, as I mentioned before, about this topic today. In my years of experience teaching others to achieve their best life, I've been like most of you. I've struggled to have that balanced life. And as an African-American woman, I actually have been taught that being strong means showing that you don't have any emotion. And I can still remember being in the third grade, coming home in tears, and my mother giving me this talk about how important it is that I don't cry in person, and I learned to hold my emotions in, and I learned to look strong, and all of that was great. But what we didn't know then was how harmful it is to emotionally hold in your tears and your feelings, and how they affect you emotionally and physically, to be repressing emotions like that. I know emotions are difficult, they're even scary, and it is at times much easier to kind of suppress our emotions than to recognize them, to feel them, and to process them. However, the ability to recognize and feel and process and release these emotions really enable you to function in a more positive and successful state. So you can really live free and create the life that you were designed to live. We now have so much research that shows that repression and unhealthy expressions of emotions have really adverse effects on your health and definitely on the relationships that you're in. So we learn about and we develop emotions from birth. So it really starts at the beginning, early in our childhood, our development and onward. And that means that it's important not only for us, but to help our children to recognize emotions and to learn how to process those emotions in a healthy way so that they can really be extremely powerful. And it also is really helpful for you, whether you're a parent or whether you're a caregiver, in helping others to process emotions in a healthy way, especially during this time. It also means that if you didn't develop and utilize effective techniques to process your emotions early on, you've got a little catching up to do. But let me tell you, what we're going to talk about today is so simple and easy for you to begin to incorporate into your lifestyle. And I have found it to be extremely helpful. And I'll just be sharing that with you. I do want to remind you that I am a doctor of education. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you is not intended to replace the advice of your healthcare provider. It's not intended to diagnose, to treat, to prevent, or cure any disease. I am an educator, and I'm so committed to helping you have all the access to the resources, information that you need, helping you to find what's going to work for you. My passion is to empower you to take charge of your health and live according to God's design for you. And I just get excited about all the things and the ways that I've been blessed and the things I've learned, especially through using the Young Living essential oils and the research that I've done over the 40 years I've been doing this. And I just love sharing with others. But when we talk about your health, I do encourage you to make sure that you find a healthcare provider that aligns with your goals for your health, and that you work along with them so that you can enjoy the optimal health that you deserve. And when we start thinking about emotions that you would like to break free of, I want you to think of which ones come to mind the most for you. If at any point you feel like the emotions are so overwhelming and it might be dangerous for you or for someone else, I do encourage you to get special therapy. I'm not a therapist, okay? But today I want you to just think about some of those emotions that you want to break free of, or you want to have more balance in. Is there fears going on with you? Is there anger, sadness, grief, anxiety, overwhelm, perhaps some confusion, some despair, some hopelessness, perhaps some shame, okay? And I want you to just take a few minutes, and maybe you want to do it over the next few days to kind of jot down what emotions you're identifying that are coming up. Because if you're like me and you have been taught not to even recognize them, you may need some time to begin to even observe and recognize what's going on, because we've kind of been conditioned not to do that. Let's look a little bit at the science. I won't overwhelm you with it, but I think this is really key, because understanding that our limbic system is a system of nerves and networks in the brain that really control basic emotions and your drives. It's the emotional brain. So the limbic system is the emotional brain, and it supports 5 major functions. It supports your emotions, your behavior, your motivation, your long-term memory, and your sense of smell. So this limbic system is really important. And what's exciting about the essential oils is that they can be used to tap directly into that limbic system to stimulate your memories and emotions. So as you inhale your essential oils, the tiny molecules kind of enter into your nasal cavity and they pass by the olfactory bulb. Now, that olfactory bulb is a part of your limbic system, and therefore your response to an aroma is going to be emotional before it's rational. Let me say that again. Your olfactory bulb is part of that limbic system, and therefore your response to an aroma is going to be emotional before it's rational. Most of us think that we act rationally first, and we don't. But this is good news, because it means you can use essential oils to recall memories, whether they're good or bad. And if they're bad, you can use the oils to help you release the cellular memories stored in the body. And it allows you to process them and move past them, not just repress them. Okay. We all regularly come into contact with reactions to smells. You walk into a house at dinner time and you smell your favorite meal being prepared, okay? Your emotions instantly are triggered with fond memories, okay, that you have about that meal, okay? You smell the cologne of your grandfather that he wears, and it instantly triggers emotions based on your relationship with him, okay? You had a good relationship, you feel emotions like love and happiness, okay? If you had a not so good relationship and he's passed away, you might be feeling a little anger and sadness, okay, that kind of thing. Now that we've talked about a little bit of that science and how essential oils can be used, we want to get a little bit more into why the quality of those oils matter. And then some really powerful blends today I want to talk to you about that will help with the calming and the balancing of your emotions. So let's get going with that a little bit. So first, just take a quick moment to understand what essential oils are. I'm talking about real oils, okay? Not those that are made in a lab, not those that are adulterated for profit, okay? Essential oils are the liquids that are extracted from plants. Think about them as plant concentrates. Essential oils help the plant to stay healthy, and they can do the same thing for us. We use them in aromatherapy, we use them in home cleaning, we use them in personal care, but they support every system of your body. The thing is, though, not all the oils are equal, okay? And so you want premium essential oils that will really help oxygenate the body and support your overall health in general. While the synthetic and the adulterated oils may affect your limbic system and trigger emotions and memories, they can also have a negative impact on your other systems in your body, such as your endocrine system or your hormones, as many fragrances are endocrine disruptors, okay? So you kind of want to avoid those. How do you know which ones to choose? Well, for me, that comes down to something called Seed to Seal, and Young Living's the only company I know that provides this. Seed to seal is a quality commitment, unlike anything else. I mean, that means they control the entire process from the seed to the sealed body that you get. They control how the seeds are sourced. They control the science, and they're actually the leaders in the science, and they're the leaders in setting the standards for the quality of essential oils. And you can be assured that you're getting a high quality product that's made from the highest quality essential oils and other naturally derived ingredients. I mean, check out some of the strict guidelines that they abide by when they fulfill their promise on sending you the best products to your home. Okay, number one, plant materials that are grown, all of them are grown on their corporately owned farms, or they carefully vet every farm that they use. Okay, they use very sustainable farming principles and sourcing practices so that we can get the purest oil from the very beginning. They take great care to preserve and protect the natural resources, which is very important in this day. They hand weed fields, so there's zero pesticides that they use. And their oils then will retain all of their natural constituents and their therapeutic properties. They also use a food grade distiller with state-of-the-art design and distillation methods. And so you're not getting parts of the distiller into your oils. And then they use a real low pressure, low temperature distillation, and they don't use solvents or synthetic chemicals. The solvents or synthetic chemicals will make you have more oil and get it faster, but it kind of adulterates and compromises the oil. They use a very rigorous testing on each batch in their internal labs. They also use third-party facilities, and they review their oils at every step of the way. If at any point, which is what I really like, if at any point it doesn't meet their standards, then they do not accept that oil. They will totally reject it. So you know what you're getting. And that's important to me as we move along. Keep in mind, you can use the oils in several ways. You can always use them topically by just applying them like to your wrist, your neck, your back, your feet. Don't put them in your ears. Don't get them in your eyes directly. I like to remind people, if you do get an oil in your eye, you don't use water. Use a fatty oil, okay, carrier oil. Another thing to keep in mind that they're real gentle for the most part to put on your skin, but you may want to dilute it with a carrier oil at some time, something like grapefruit seed oil or coconut oil or sweet almond oil, something like that. But they also work awesomely aromatically. Remember what we talked about is how they work with the limbic system, and you smell it and it goes right into the limbic system. So aromatically, all you have to do is just open the bottle and smell it, okay, breathe it in. You can put it in a diffuser, but you can also just put a couple of drops on your palm, rub your hands together, and just inhale. Works wonderfully like that. And then some oils can be taken internally. Only oils that are pure, that are approved by the FDA for internal use, should be used internally. And that's very important. Young Living does have a line of oils. They're labeled vitality oils, or they're labeled dietary supplements, and they can be done internally. Be sure you're reading the label, especially if you're not using Young Living. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about today for emotions. Mostly you're going to be using them topically or aromatically. But if you do find that you want a little bit more support, you're working on emotional release, and you want a little bit more support there, and you want to use internally, then you can always put them in a capsule, or you can add them to your water, any beverage that you're drinking, and they can be effectively used that way as well. So now let's talk about some blends that are really effective when we're talking about ways to really support our emotions and have emotional balance. And what I want to do then as well is give you some affirmations that you can combine with some of these blends that will help in releasing, especially some of the negative emotions that we're dealing with today. So let's talk about one of my favorite is Harmony, mainly because how are you struggling with relationships? I mean, this is a big deal now, how we're getting along with one another. And this is a great blend, okay? It has so many oils, and I mean, Sacred Frank, sandalwood, lavender, lang, frankincense, orange, angelica. I mean, has a black spruce in it. It's so many. This blend is so special in the way that it provides an uplifting aroma. And when you use it with the positive affirmation, it really helps the effect to be more powerful. So as you connect the thought or that affirmation to the physical smell, you begin to connect the two, and then you really begin to establish an intentional experience. So with harmony, just smelling it in and saying, I am one with all. And I like to put it on my wrist or on my navel when I'm doing it. And it's really easy to use. It can, you do it that way, or you could just diffuse it as well. Some people like to put a couple of drops right on their collarbone as they're doing that, and just begin to visualize the relationships you have, and then say, I am at one with all, which is what you'd like to see. Now, another one is forgiveness. I think of the quote Marianne Williamson said. She said, forgiveness is not always easy. At times it feels more painful than the wound that we suffered. To forgive the one that inflicted it, and yet there is no peace without forgiveness. And in a life full of relationships, there'll just be so many times that you'll need to forgive. And when we're bothered by the actions of others in our past, we can be filled with anger or hate or resentment or emotional pain. And forgiveness is a way to release all of these negative emotions from your inner body and to begin the healing process. One really useful technique for doing this is to combine your deep breathing while you're inhaling forgiveness essential oil. Deep breathing is an easy way because it's so easy. I mean, you can just stop what you're doing at the time. You notice something has triggered and you just start taking in slow breaths, okay? Trying to exhale longer than you inhale. And you can feel your lungs expand, fill them up, and then release them out slowly, and do this a couple of times. Forgiveness has such amazing oils in the blend, including Melissa and geranium. You can look up what these oils actually do. It's so many things and that they do in ways that they help your overall body. But this one specifically provides an aroma that supports your ability to forgive yourself and others while you let go of those negative emotions. And so that's a crucial part of our personal growth. So with forgiveness, sometimes I might be just thinking of something and something comes up and I notice that feeling and I think, you know what, I need to think about forgiveness, and then the affirmation, I learned from all life's experiences. So no matter what happens, I can remind myself that I learned from all life's experiences. And then I repeat this as I'm doing my deep breathing in and out. Now, a third one I think is really helpful for me. Have you ever asked yourself, who am I? You may have asked yourself and felt this way many times throughout your life. Many transitions that we go through, maybe as a teenager, maybe as an adult, maybe when you're graduating from college or your career, or you're ending a relationship or getting into a new relationship. Perhaps you got a social identity that's not respected or accepted by the dominant culture. So you always are feeling inadequate, okay? The aroma of inner child encourages you to connect to your authentic self, connect to your creative being that you were designed, the being that God designed you to be. It has orange and tangerine and lang lang and some royal Hawaiian sandalwood, some jasmine, I mean, lemongrass, spruce. It's amazing what all is in here. And for me, I found that I had absorbed so many negative descriptions that people had given me of who I was over my lifetime. I remember you're ugly, you're black, you got nappy hair, you're four-eyed, you're egghead. I mean, I grew up wearing glasses and being a nerd were not cool. And so I have found that using inner child, whenever any of these childhood memories start to come up, I use them and then I start doing deep breaths. And I remind myself that I can release the past. I can release the past as I'm breathing these in, and I can walk in my truth, and I can walk in the authentic self that God has designed me to be. And it's just been so freeing as I've allowed myself to do that, as those negative thoughts come back and the memories don't have the same negative grip on me as they used to before. Another really wonderful oil is present time. Thomas Munson said, "The past is behind, so learn from it. The future is ahead, prepare for it. The present is here, so live it." I found myself so many times stewing over things that happened in the past and then worrying about the future, okay, and not really enjoying the present time. So this reminds me to just be present. Whole thing of smell the flowers. I missed a lot of flowers in my life going, thinking too much of the past or trying to get into the future. And present time has just reminded me to enjoy the here and the now. I mean, it's got bitter oranges, it's got black spruce, some lang lang. When you fuse present time, you kind of can focus on the here and now. And it helps me to just get beyond the past and move forward. And it was really created to bring people into the moment. If you pair it with meditation, present time has a very, very powerful effect. Meditation is that practice of turning inward and actually bringing an awareness to what is happening in the moment. And this blend is perfect for meditation because it helps you focus on your breath, you focus on your body awareness, and you focus on your present thoughts and you bring them in alignment. And I like to say, I see clearly, because you do begin to see more clearly what's happening right now. I just love it. And, at this point in time, I find myself wanting to embrace some new and exciting opportunities. And then I'm also very afraid to do it. Fears come up. And so I have used release a lot to be able to release memories and relationships and activities and behaviors and thought patterns that no longer serve me. Okay. Releases that blend. It has a lang lang, lavender, geranium, royal Hawaiian, sandalwood, grapefruit, some spearmint lemon. I mean, it is just packed again. And the relaxing aroma facilitates the ability to just kind of let go of anger and frustration. It really promotes harmony and balance when it's diffused. And even in a room, when you sense these kind of emotions arising, just diffusing it helps to release those negative emotions. I love it because I can say I let go with ease and grace. Okay. It's really helpful for anyone going through just a lot of emotional changes or imbalances in their body. We know that's no secret with women, all those changes that we go through, and we can feel overwhelmed with our emotions a lot of time and the physical changes. And if you or someone are having that, it's kind of important at this time to communicate your love for them. And this is an effective way to help them kind of move through some of these difficult life changes. I think having release in the essential oils is a tool to help them release those unwanted emotions and to be a little bit more balanced. Movement is another way to help with release. Any forms of movement, it helps to release emotions, and many people like to use a high intensity fitness, such as running or boxing. But even yoga and things like that are helpful to release some stressors and frustrations. And so any of those I have found to be very, very effective tools, along with the essential oils, especially if we're trying to process emotions like anger and resentment and guilt. And again, I mean, you can diffuse it, you can apply it, and then just say as you're breathing it in, I let go with ease and grace. For me, especially during the last 2 or 3 years, and many of you know that I lost my daughter, so we're working through our grief journey. But I've identified fear as probably the one emotion that has threatened me the most, and it has caused in many ways, I feel it tries to really paralyze me in some ways. And so I have to tell myself, I want you to inhale courage and exhale fear when I feel that fear and that anxiety trying to overtake me. And courage is just something that we all need, no matter what our age, no matter what our stage in life. I mean, we needed courage when we took our first steps, but we're taking new steps now, even as we get older. We need courage if we want to step into new situations for the first time. We need courage if you have to speak publicly, okay, or in front of someone that we feel a little intimidated by. We need courage to dream, to think big. We need courage to make new changes in life, whether we're talking about going back to school or getting married or setting relationship boundaries. Maybe we want to start a new job or build a business. Or we just, need to sell a home. We use it I use it every time I have to get behind the wheel and drive, okay? Using valor is just an easy and effective way because I can just inhale the courage, exhale the fear. I make sure I carry it with me all the time. The opposite of courage is inertia. So saying this affirmation can help you move from inertia to courage, okay? And you can diffuse it. You can, just do the drop in the cup and the scent tent that I love to do because it has like black spruce in it, it has camphor, it has some blue tansy, frankincense, some geranium, just powerful oils. And I love to say as I'm inhaling it, I come from my strength. I come from my strength, not from my fears. I come from my strength. It's just amazing. Dr. Benjamin Perkis is a psychologist, and for over 20 years, he's been studying different ways to really help people move into balancing techniques emotionally. And he has kind of developed over the years a technique called aroma freedom technique. And I have found it to be one of the safest techniques and one of the quickest for releasing negative emotions and enjoying balance and calm. It's a technique that uses the power of scent to gently shift your awareness away from your negative thoughts and feelings and emotions and allows you to inhale a positive outlook and attitude. And you see that shift. You see the power of the negative emotions dissolve as you begin to breathe in and follow this technique. And what results is a greater confidence and an inner freedom. You're not stuck in the negative mindsets, and we're free to create the life that we desire. I have found this to be so effective. I couldn't believe it when I first heard about it. I had a friend that helped me walk through it just recently, and the power of it was just unbelievable for me. The 12-step process is just another tool to help you release those emotions and memories that are holding you back and allowing, keeping you from moving forward. And it's so simple. It starts with just setting an intention or a goal that you would like to achieve, one that you don't believe is very attainable. You rate that intention on a scale from 1 to 10, and then you move through a series of steps where you incorporate the essential oils that allow you to move through different emotions that are limiting you. You can use the very common oils of stress away, frankincense, lavender. You might want to bring in lemon or peppermint or thieves. Some people like to use inner child, release, any of the oils that we just talked about, including believer transformation. But any of these oils, as you're walking through this process, you find yourself releasing those negative thoughts, those negative emotions. And he has more on his website that you could look at, the aroma freedom technique. But just recently, in the last couple of years, he's released even simpler technique that I just think everyone can do on their own. And that was his purpose. It's called the Aroma Reset. And I want to share this with you because it's just a simple 6-step process that he developed because he wanted everyone to have the benefit of how the oils can help them. And only use lavender, stress away, and frankincense. And I actually have mixed them together in with the roller ball that I always can carry with me. If you don't have them, I mean, you can use what you have on hand. When I feel my emotions are starting to be hijacked, I immediately do this. And it's so simple. First of all, I just identify the situation. What's going on? Is something or something triggering, or there's a negative emotion that I'm beginning to feel? And I'm starting to begin to feel my shoulders tensing up, is my head starting to feel tighter, my face, my jaw being tight. Am I finding that I'm clenching my hands and things like that? All these are clues for me. And then I start to name what I feel. And as I told you, that it's taken a while for me to identify emotions, because I was taught not to do that. But I'm learning to think about, am I feeling fear? Am I feeling afraid? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling, angry? And then beyond that, where am I feeling it? So then that third step is locating that in my body. So is my shoulders going up? Am I clenching my teeth? Am I clenching my hands? Are my knees shaking? Where am I feeling that? And I begin to just identify that. And then I think, what are the negative thoughts that are running through my mind? Okay. These are usually fears. And keep in mind that the fear that you feel initially is there to protect you. I mean, if a tiger or animal was coming after you, you want fear to be there to tell you to, hey, get the heck out of here, okay, right? But oftentimes the fear that we're having, the fear of people, the fear of new situations, the fear of trying something new, it's key. It's not going to harm us, but that fear response is still there. So we want to be able to say, what are those thoughts? Are they thoughts that say, you're stupid, you could never do this, you're not going to be any good with this, you're never going to get better? Are those negative thoughts? Go identify what they are, and becoming aware of those throughout the day when those negative thoughts are playing in your head is really going to be important. And then once you identify the thought, then smell the oils, that blend of stress away, lavender, frankincense. Start to do some deep breaths. Spend just a couple of minutes breathing in and out the oil with that oil, and release. Okay, release those negative thoughts. Release those negative thoughts. Release them. And then decide what's the next thing you need to do. What's the next step? Maybe it is to just get up, start the project that you were procrastinating. Maybe it will be to be able to talk to that person and talk in a way that says, I am important, I am my authentic self, and it's important that I share this with you. Maybe it's something, for me, I was getting ready to do a presentation. I was paralyzed, scared to do it. And once I went through this, I found myself able to write the first draft and to move forward. And there were creative things started going through my head. Even things I didn't know that I remember started coming back and helping me with that. I've been able to go to the next step just by doing this, by this aroma reset. I've just been amazed at how effective it is. And so I really encourage you to give that a try and do that, because I think you will find that it is so helpful. As we mentioned before, just how the oils are connected to your limbic system. And so the smell triggers the memories and your actions first anyway. So you're putting that smell in there and you're controlling that. I just think it's amazing. I do want to tell you, I don't know what oils you have with you, but you can always, a good buy is just to purchase, start with the stress away, the lavender and the frankincense. You can start and get those three. Actually, a better buy would be for you to purchase the Young Living bundle, because it will have those 3 oils in it. Plus it'll have 9 other oils, and the price is like 50% less than anything else that you'll ever buy at Young Living. But you may want to buy the Feelings collection, which are the 6 oils that we talked about today, because they really inspire feelings of emotion and well-being. And of course, you can use those in the morning and the evening to promote your peaceful thoughts and spiritual harmony. It is an awesome buy as well. I would recommend just going, choose your QR code here that you see, taking a picture of it on your phone. It will take you. You can look at the products, get more description about the products, select the products that work best for you, or go to my website, naturallynozella.com, or give me a call. I would love to talk with you. If you are interested in doing a personal consult, do give me a call. I want to thank you so much today for being with me, for joining me. I really encourage you to identify those emotions that you know would help you to be more balanced, and those barriers and those triggers that are preventing you from being your best you. Grab your oils, breathe into a calmer you today. It's just that simple. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to our next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.